Hey, everybody. I wanted to touch base and talk about my recent hike at the Devil's Path in the Catskill Mountains. We did the entire path in one day, 23 and a half miles over six mountains and 8,200 feet of elevation. Most people do it in 2 days. We did it in one. And I wanted to discuss my preparation and how the hike went because there were a lot of questions out there about doing it in one day for those who are very goal or challenge oriented. I did it with three buddies of mine, and we started at 4:15 a.m. on Saturday in the dark. But up until that, my preparation for it was 4 days out. I went very heavy on my hydration, more than the normal rule of thumb, which is half your weight, half your body weight in ounces of water is what you should consume every day on a hydration standpoint. But I exceeded that probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 15% extra. So I was constantly hydrating. And what I also did was I upped my carbohydrates that week. So my hike was on Saturday. So about Wednesday, I started going heavier with yams, potatoes, some pasta. And actually, the night before, I ate a whole pizza and had three beers, which will probably never happen again until I do another monster hike. Um, and I think I really felt good and strong that hike. So the Devil's Path itself, we started at 4:15 a.m. Was myself um, at 58 years old. It was my friend Ben Bryant, 39-year-old retired Marine. It was my friend Eric Went, a 44-year-old New York City firefighter, EMT, and Indy, who had contacted me the day before. I looked at his profile, and he was, he wanted to hike with us. He was looking for some guys to do it with. It was always a goal of his, and he wasn't looking to do it super fast, and neither were we. So let me get that started. With our goal was to finish the hike in one day, but also stop along the way and check out the views and just kind of go with the flow and have lunch. And so it took us about 15 hours. First mountain is Indian Head. It's a nice start to the hike. It's about 2 miles to Indian Head going in, and it's not a rugged 2 miles. You start to get your ups. I didn't find it to be a very challenging mountain on the front part. However, we did catch a great sunrise on it, so we timed that perfectly. Coming off, getting to the summit of Indian Head and then going down it, the ruggedness starts to begin, but it's nothing like the other mountains that we're going to encounter on the journey. Um, the second mountain is Twin Mountain, and this is where the ruggedness starts to happen. We start having more ruggedness as we get to the top, and the reason why they call it Twin is it has two summits on it. The first one, if you're going from east to west, is the nicer one. Spectacular views. We stopped there for a little bit. Then we went over to the second one, and still a nice view. Not as spectacular as the first peak on it, but really nice. So where the challenge starts to come in is coming down off of Twin. Um, it gets rugged as shit. It is very rocky, big boulders, some loose granule. It's a straight down pitch, and let me also tell you this: I broke my poles in the first mile of the hike. So I had to hike four mountains without poles until I got to the end of the fourth mountain where my buddy left me poles. Um, but getting back to Twin, coming off of it, it's brutal. It is a drop. It is rugged. It is nasty. And when you get to the bottom, you look straight up and there's Sugarloaf waiting for you. Same deal. It's rugged. It's straight up rugged, nasty. You're going to get your ass kicked. When you get to the top of that, it's another vicious drop until you get to the bottom. And then you're looking straight up at a mountain called Plateau. And that is a hell of a climb up. It is straight up, rugged, a lot of root, a lot of nastiness. When you get to the top of Plateau, They call it plateau for a reason. There's about a 2.5 mile ridge line up top and through the woods, very flat. It kind of gives you a break after doing, summiting 4 mountains. So you get a little bit of a break up on there, and then as you get towards the end of the mountain, there are two beautiful, spectacular views. One looking out to the south, and the other one a little bit further up. You're looking over towards the northeast, and you're staring at Hunter and a bunch of other rolling mountains. Now, coming off of it, the contour starts to change a little bit. It becomes more granular. It becomes very loose. You got to take your time going down. It's a pretty nasty pitch. And as we got down to the bottom, we were in need of a much-needed rest. There's a road that runs through there, and our buddies left us some water, some trail magic, snacks, my new poles that I was able to use. We took about a 30-minute break, I would say, before we had to go summit Hunter. And Hunter was a big one. So we got up that was nasty. A lot of mosquitoes on Hunter. A lot of bugs up on there. A long hike up. That was our 5th summit of the day. We met our friends at the shelter on top of Hunter and took a little bit of a break there talking and chatting before we made our way down. And again, loose, granular trail. So then we come to the last mountain of the day, which is Westkill. And at that point, there's 7.2 miles left on the trail. 2.5 miles up to the summit of Westkill. 7.2 miles on the entire journey to finish this 23.5 mile hike. So my buddies were pretty spent. I'm probably the best uphill guy in the group and probably the worst downhill guy in the group. So they looked at me and said, "You got to lead." So I took off, and I never looked back, and I didn't realize until later on that I left them guys behind. I went from the bottom to top of Westkill nonstop to the summit before I grabbed some water. They weren't around, so I continued on my journey. And as I was cutting across Westkill, a huge roar came out of the woods, which I assume was a bear, probably a mama with cubs because it was a nasty roar. And I didn't stick around to see because I was not wanting to really deal with a mama and cubs, and B, I just wanted to get the damn hike done. So as I went down Westkill, there was a lot of ups and downs a little bit, some drops, but not as challenging as the East. The East really can kick your ass after 4 mountains. So as I got down to the bottom of Westkill, I'm thinking I'm done, and there's a sign. 1.5 miles to go. And I just kind of like mumbled under my breath, "Oh, shit," But then I put it in perspective and said it's only 6 laps around the track. So I got down to the bottom, got out to the road, and about 18 minutes later, my boys came across the line, and that was our journey for the day. We did Devil's Path in 1 day. Most people do it in 2 days, and those who attempt it, most of them drop out at about the halfway point. It is rated by some publications as the toughest hike on the East Coast. It is rugged. It's every bit of its name, Devil's Path. And I just wanted to share my experience with you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. I lived it. I felt pretty good when I was done. I was tired. I was beat up. But the next day I did go drop south into the Hudson Highlands and I hiked Breakneck Ridge. But, we're all different. So with that said, I hope everybody has a great day. And thanks for following me. And check my videos out. I'm going to be posting more on here. Everybody have a great weekend.